I moved into my mountainside property nearly 6 years ago. Quiet, peaceful, surrounded by woods, and just a few miles uphill from a gated community run by one of the most obnoxiously power-hungry HOAs I've ever encountered. I deliberately chose land outside the HOA boundary just to avoid their nonsense. But that didn't stop them from trying to pull me into their drama. It started when I refused to join the HOA. Karen, yes, actual name Karen, was the HOA president and self-proclaimed community protector. She came to my cabin one day with a welcome packet and a clipboard. "Since you're connected to our water line, you're technically part of the HOA," she claimed. I blinked. "That's not how property law works." "Oh, it's how we do things here," she said smugly. "You'll need to remove your RV, repaint your cabin to match community colors, and pay a $250 compliance fee." I shut the door in her face. Apparently, that didn't sit well. A week later, I turned on my shower, and nothing, not even a drip. I checked my line and saw a bright orange padlock on the community-controlled valve that fed into my cabin's water connection. The HOA had literally shut off my water. I drove down to their office and demanded an explanation. Karen didn't even look up from her desk. "Water is for residents in good standing with the HOA. You do realize I'm not part of your HOA, right?" I growled. She smiled sweetly. "Then maybe you should stop using our water." That's when I decided to let her dig her own grave. See, what Karen didn't know is that before I built my cabin, I did my research. That entire area has unreliable water pressure in the summer due to droughts. So I made a deal with the original land developer years ago and bought full ownership rights to the massive backup water tank at the top of the hill. The same tank that supplies every drop of water to the HOA community during shortages. And summer was coming fast. 3 weeks later, a wildfire miles away triggered emergency conservation orders. The county cut primary water access to several rural areas, including the HOA neighborhood. Suddenly, the only water source they had: my tank. Karen called me in a panic. "Our backup line isn't working," she stammered. "The tank isn't refilling the system." "Yeah," I said, sipping coffee on my porch. "I shut it off." "You can't do that." "I can," I said calmly, "because I own the tank. Legally, deeded, filed with the county. I even pay the property tax on it. And since I'm apparently not allowed to use HOA water, I figured the HOA shouldn't be allowed to use mine." Dead silence. Karen tried bluffing. "We'll sue you." I laughed. "Good luck with that. You shut off my water. I've got photos, time-stamped videos, and the county has already been informed. Want to explain to a judge why a homeowner not near HOA had his water cut off during fire season?" That afternoon, the HOA board scheduled an emergency vote. The next morning, a plumber restored my line, and Karen showed up with a signed letter officially acknowledging that my property was not subject to HOA rules. But I wasn't done. I sent them a new contract. $1 per gallon used for my backup tank. $5,000 reconnect fee. $10,000 fee. $5,000 reconnect fee. $5,000 reconnect fee. Annual renewal, subject to my approval. They paid. I the minds pule mis bardafalambai. Rebbe burglars and tambazins, bratamerizin, in the makings of party, the perkin toys, and prim wall, and all with the bowl of a relic not. And to bowl is set the superlative of the satin is by the thills and daco. From mutted fullness fricasov. Aquan bingisser dimbolim, all in the ball of the ball, the children of wars. I wouldn't bang up to the tenor with the babies. You're the circular gaze at the sex races with a very sickness. Karen resigned 2 weeks later. Now, my water pressure's perfect. My tank, still full and under my control. And the HOA, they remember one very important thing. Don't mess with the guy who owns your water supply.